So we are talking about a very happy topic, which was great to walk in and feel such happy energy. We are talking about joy. And the reason we're talking about joy is because we are in the Jewish time of joy. Now, that sounds like a bit of an oxymoron. I mean, isn't the Jewish time to always be joyous? Which it is. It is truly part of our religion, our relationship with God, our culture, our heritage, whatever you want to call it. However much this is misunderstood by the rest of the world, to be Jewish is to be joyous, is to feel good, is to be happy. That's what God wants of us. God says, "Serve me with joy." So every day is supposed to be a joyous day in the life of a Jew. But we heighten this joy in the time of Adar. Adar is the final month from the months of the year. That's a little bit confusing because you're like, wait, it was just Rosh Hashanah about half a year ago. We have two concepts in the Jewish calendar. We have the years and we have the months. I mean, obviously in the Gregorian calendar it doesn't work that way. January is the first month of the month, the first month of the year. There's no such separation. But in the Jewish calendar there is. So the year starts Rosh Hashanah. Well, Rosh Hashanah is not the first month. It's not the second or the third either. Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, Elul. It's the seventh month. The seventh month, the beginning of the year. So we're counting not years, but months. The months begin with Nisan, the month we left Egypt, the month we, so to speak, became, in a sense, a people. And the final month is Adar, the month we're in right now. So every year we're told in Adar, the sages say, when Adar comes, joy comes. We should add in joy. We should increase in joy. We should intensify joy. And that's true every year. But some years it's especially true. 7 out of every 19 years in the calendar as we have it nowadays is a leap year. Now, of course, again, the Gregorian calendar, a leap year means you add like a day to February. In the Jewish calendar, we do it full force and we add an entire month. We add literally 30 days. And 7 out of every 19 years, it's a leap year and we add an extra 30 days. We add a second month of Adar. Now, why is our leap year so intense? Because basically we want to keep the solar and the lunar aligned. In the Christian world, Gregorian calendar, it's completely solar. The moon's got nothing to do with it. There's a fixed number of days of a month. We don't put the moon in perspective at all. In the Islamic calendar, in the Muslim calendar, it's completely lunar. And they don't pay attention to the solar. And we combine both, which means we have a lunar calendar. What I mean by a lunar calendar is every month is based on the orbit of the moon. The month literally follows the pattern of the moon. The first of the month is when the moon is reborn, tiniest sliver, and then it grows and grows and grows till the 15th of the month, and then it wanes and wanes and wanes till the 29th or 30th. So our calendar is very solar. It's literally every month is built on the orbit of the moon. At the same time, we have a lunar component. The lunar component is that we shouldn't lose the seasons, because if we didn't have the solar perspective, if we didn't try to keep realigning ourselves to the solar, what happened is we would slip further and further and further away from the solar. And then Passover might be in the summer or in the fall or in the winter. You know, it's lunar. It's got nothing to do with the solar, which means it has nothing to do with the seasons. But God said no. He wants the holidays to be in their season. Sukkot, Sukkot is in the fall, and Passover is in the spring. So we need this solar component to keep our holidays in sync with the solar seasonal calendar. And to make that work, we have to keep adjusting the solar and the lunar. And the way we do that is by adding a month. 7 out of every 19 years, we add a month, 30 days to realign. In other words, we're slipping. Last year was the furthest we can get off. And now we added a month. Okay, we're back. We're back where we're supposed to be. So what does that have to do with why we're talking? I'm not giving you a little thumbnail astronomy course. If you are interested, it is fascinating because the amount of astronomy the sages knew was mind-boggling. I've attempted to learn those laws. My brain doesn't know enough astronomy to hold it, though I've tried. So the amount of astronomy our sages knew was beyond, that they so perfectly calibrated so many factors I can't even begin to talk about. But what's relevant to us is the leap year concept. And we're talking about joy. We're not talking about a calendar. But I want you to understand the leap year to understand why this year we have 2 Adars. Adar is 30 days. If we have 2, We've got 60 days of Adar. Why is that significant? Because there's a rule in Jewish law that sometimes, not always, it depends on the substances, but sometimes one item would be nullified if it's found in 60 times as much of, let's call it the opposite gender. So, for example, if a drop of milk came in contact with 60 times as much meat products, like somehow a drop of milk slipped into your chicken soup by mistake, not on purpose. If you run on purpose, it doesn't work. You're not trying to, enrich your chicken soup with milk, but accidentally a little bit of milk spilled in, and there's 60 times or more chicken soup in that pot, it's fine. It's kosher. As a kosher, we don't mix milk and meat. It's nullified because it's in 60 times as much. Now, again, parenthetically, that's going a little bit off our topic, but I just want to tell you, it doesn't always work. Not everything is nullified in 60 times. On Passover, leaven is never nullified. It doesn't make a difference if you have 5 million times as much. So it doesn't always work. In certain substances, in certain conditions, it works. So based on that, Lubavitcher Rebbe says, we have 60 times quantity, so to speak, of joy in this year. Because we have 2 Adars, and each is 30. 30 and 30 is 60. So we have a quantity of 60 times joy. And the Rebbe says, all negativity, anything negative, anything not seemingly positive, should be completely nullified in the joy of these 2 months. So it's a really amazing time to access joy. And it's an amazing time to work on joy. Now, it sounds funny to say to work on joy. Like, isn't joy natural? Like, you're happy, you're happy. You're not happy, you're not happy. You're in a mood. You're this, you're that. Aren't we just a victim of our moods, so to speak? And we're told no. Joy is something we work on. Joy is something we work on a lot because there's so many wonderful reasons why it's important to be joyous. And even in the most simple way in Adar, a wonderful way to work on joy is to dance. Literally, this morning, my older son was here from Springfield, my husband, my son, my grandson, me, I was on the side clapping, of course. They were dancing, but it was so joyous. Obviously, it's easier when you have little children. but just even yourself, I do it with Beryl. Again, I have the little child there, so I can let loose. But literally just dancing creates so much joy. If that's too much of a stretch, smiling creates a lot of joy also. Literally just saying, all right, let me try to smile more today. Let me try to literally focus on adding joy and smiling and creating joy, not all the time, but for others. Literally for myself as I'm. So you could dance, you could smile, and if neither of those are so up your alley, you could stretch yourself. And if you don't want to do that, you can act joyous. Acting joyous is a wonderful way to feel joy. When you act it, when you give off the impression that something really great is happening in your life and you're so happy and you're so excited, it doesn't only obviously infect other people with a happy feeling. Primarily, it changes you. Primarily, you have a wonderful feeling by your joy that you're acting. So this is a month to dance. This is a month to smile. This is a month to act, and I see we have a bride in our group, so that's wonderful. We can give Mazel Tov to Simcha.
Woohoo, woohoo. We should all dance every day.
Yes, who is engaged and beaming such joy so it can rub off on everyone else. So when we are so happy and we're engaged, like Simcha, or we're pushing ourselves and we're dancing and we're smiling and we're acting it, that really helps, really does. But of course, we also would like to internalize it. Why? Because otherwise, it's contingent on outside. It's contingent on me getting up and dancing or remembering to smile, remembering to act it, getting the bride energy rubbing off on me when we have that beautiful bride energy around. But not always do I have those opportunities. Not always do I have a bride in the class, or am I remembering to dance and remembering to smile and remembering to act it. The outside world is always changing. And our evil inclinations are really good at stripping us of joy. It's a very strong tool. I think they teach it in evil inclination preschool. Because when we're not feeling good, everything else falls apart. Everything else in our home falls apart. Everything in our relationships fall apart. In our service of God, in our lives, in our success. We're literally told that the more happy you are, the more successful you are. There's a tremendous correlation between joy and success on every level. So, therefore, our evil inclinations are really good at evoking fear or depression, negativity, sadness, worry. And therefore, we have to say, no, I'm not only be joyous when everything in the outside world is smiling at me and calling my name and making me feel good. I want to be joyous on the inside. And it's interesting because it's actually very Mashiach work. You have to trust me on this. But in the Hebrew, the letters of the word joy are the same letters as the word Mashiach if you jumble them around a bit. So that's like really interesting, especially because unlike in English, I mean, my gosh, you can't ever figure out spelling in English anyway. But language is just something that's mutually agreed upon. It has no intrinsic meaning. But in the Hebrew, which we call the holy tongue, biblical Hebrew, every word, every title, label, name is really expressing the energy of that item. The name expresses essence. And literally, it's not only the name, it's the letters. The letters are literally the flow through which God's energy vivifies that thing. So if that thing is joy, or that thing is Mashiach, and if we scramble the letters, we get either joy or Mashiach, that expresses the enormous correlation between these two items, which really means when we're doing the work of joy, we're really doing the work of Mashiach. Now, of course, we've spoken before about joy, and we'll probably always come back to it when appropriate because it's something we live with. And however much we know, we fall, we fail, we forget. So it's always good to remind ourselves. Before I start, anyone would like to share what they've learned here or what they've learned in other places or what life has taught them? What are their best tips for joy?
As you said, smile.
Smiling.
Yeah.
Smiling. You've seen it works. You just smile and then
Yeah.
other people think
Because
you're
when you smile, you immediately you feel good and happy.
yeah.
You cannot smile and be sad and be upset, you know. So you just like
So no matter what you're feeling at inside, smile and
yeah,
it's going to change you.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I think the hard part is remembering to do that when you're not in a good mood. That's what we've got to train ourselves, but
Yeah.
it works.
Make a gratitude list, stay in the moment. Remember, Hashem gives us, the cure before whatever he's giving us. All struggles make us stronger.
You can see Simcha, this is her name. So her name is her essence. She's rattling off a list. She's like, I know all this stuff very well. I have like my
I
peace
know, but you have to practice
joy.
it. You have to practice it. I don't know. Don't sweat the small stuff. Yeah, worry has no place for anything because sometimes there's nothing you can do about certain things, really. You just have to say, okay, this is what I'm in, and let's see, go to the right. Always go to the right, whatever the choice on the right is, right? The Rebbe said, go to the right. So I don't know.
So what Simcha just said, which is, and what we're saying with Leah is, we got a lot of. I mean, look how many tools Simcha just like literally rattled off. Like I would call that rattling off a list. And then the challenge then, or Leah said, smile. It always works. She said, always works. Smile. It's such a simple thing. It doesn't even cost any money. So simple. No calories, no money. This is amazing. The challenge is remembering. Remembering to do what we know works. How do we remember to do what we know works? Oh, that's
You put a big sign on your fridge that says, thank you, Hashem. I literally have a sign on my fridge that says, thank you, Hashem.
yes.
So
And some people I know have stickies all over their house with little smiles on them.
I don't know, whatever. You're right.
It's just to like remind them. Everybody has to think of what works. To it works. These things all work, and it's amazing. but we have to remember to do it. And we sometimes want to sulk. I don't know, it sounds weird to say that. Want to be in a bad mood? That sounds strange, but sometimes we do. We're strange. We're humans. Humans are strange. So to really remember that we want to be joyous, we want to be happy. We have the tools, and we'd much rather be happy than otherwise. And then do it. Sometimes it's just being with people, picking up the phone and actually talking to someone, not a WhatsApp, not a text, not an email, or actually, even better, meeting someone, seeing another person. That can create a lot of joy for some people. So,
Also, get out of your head. And if you do sulk, don't be like, I don't know, I do this with lots of things. Oh, I just ate that chocolate. Oh, I might as well eat the whole bar now because I ate that chocolate, right? But no, okay, I ate a piece of chocolate. Fine. I had my down moment there. Now move on. So if you're being like not happy, or you're sulking, or you're depressed, like be like, okay, don't berate yourself about that. Just now switch out.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 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 And it's so amazing to think that there's so many tools. They're all accessible tools. And most of us know many, and all of us must know at least one. So, therefore, in theory, we always can access joy. And we literally have to remember and really, really want it. Like, be disciplined in our joy. Again, that doesn't sound like joy is like what happens to you. And Judaism says no, joy is something you create. It's not coming at you, it's not external, it's something you create. So you really want to be disciplined in your joy to keep creating it. And obviously, if you have other people in your life that you know you want to keep up, that's a good motivation to be disciplined in your joy because there's other people around you. But sometimes that's not a good enough reason. In essence, really, for joy, the best thing is to look at the world and see it's good. Because if we look at the world and we feel it's good, we're happy, we're joyous, we're content. It's really like the overarching desire, I think, of all mankind. And maybe because it didn't used to be, like maybe people didn't have it high on their list because there were a lot other really basic needs that had to be met. But in our modern world, for most of us, thank God the basic needs of life are in place. Most of us have shelter, and most of us have warmth, and most of us have clothing and food. So once we have our basic needs in place, what we really crave is joy, which joy could have different words. It doesn't only, joy might feel too like intense, and joy might be contentment. Joy might translate as inner peace. Inner peace is a really great synonym for joy. When a person really feels content, they really feel they are where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to be doing, that is joy. Like sometimes, talking about Simcha saying we bash ourselves, we might bash ourselves like, well, I'm never really joyous. I must have a problem. You're content, you have inner peace, you know you're where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's joy. That's joy. A lot of times, we've discussed this in the past. Maybe I always go in this direction because this just works for me. So, you share what works for you again and again and again, hoping it's working for other people, is really focusing on God's kindnesses and miracles and blessings to really have a grateful, blessed perspective on our life. And sometimes people, when they hear this, they feel miracles. That happened in ancient Egypt. That's not my life. That's not anyone's life. But that's not true. We all have miracles. We all have kindnesses. We all have blessings. It's very interesting. We actually say this in the prayer. We have the prayer of Modim, which actually means we are thanking and acknowledging God. We say this 3 times a day. And the reason why I'm bringing this out is because if I tell you you have miracles and kindnesses and blessings in your life, you could be, what does she know? But we actually literally say this in our prayers. We say this every day. And if you pray 3 times a day, you say it 3 times a day. If you pray once a day, you say it once a day. But we say we're thanking God for his kindnesses, for his miracles, for his wonders that he does with us daily. So these are the words of the sages. These are real. This is not hyperbole. This is not exaggeration. This is not someone telling you something to make you feel good. We are literally praising God. And if we praise God for something he didn't do, that would not be praise. That would be the opposite. So we are actually literally praising God for daily miracles in my life, for daily wonders in my life, for daily kindnesses in my life. That means he's doing that every single day for every single one of us. Because sometimes a person could feel, yeah, I know people tell stories. And of course, on this group, we have so many people that have such amazing, beautiful, inspirational stories. But that's not my life. That's not me. That's other people having stories. That's other people experiencing miracles and blessings and kindnesses. But it's nothing to do with me. But that's not what the prayer says. We are literally praising God. And again, if it wasn't true, it wouldn't be a praise. So it's got to be true. These are the words of the sages. Daily. Thank you for the kindnesses that happen every day, the miracles that happen every day, the wonders that happen every day. That's literally true. It happened in ancient Egypt. It's happening in every single one of our lives. So what happens when you don't see it? How come some people see it and other people don't see it? I think it has a lot to do with training. It's very interesting because in Hebrew, the word for faith is emunah. And the word for training, like if you were in the army now and you were going through rigorous training, it will be called emunim. So faith and exercising, training is the same etymology. Remember, I said in the holy language, biblical Hebrew, every word is expressing the import of what we're talking about. So faith, belief, that's this amorphous thing. You know, you have it, you don't. Some people have it more, some people have it less. No. Emunah, belief in God. Emunim is something we train, we practice, we work our muscles to have naturally that strong belief. Now, of course, a person who doesn't work any muscles and isn't at all spaced in has a belief in God. Every Jew has a belief in God. And actually, for that matter, every human being has a belief in God. Every human being is a believer, and every Jew is a very strong believer. But for me to make this part of my working reality, it's emunah, emunim. It's exercising the muscle of belief. Why am I talking about this? Because I was saying everyone, every single day, experiences God's kindnesses, God's wonders, God's miracles. How do I know? Because that's what's written in the prayers, and the prayers are true. Every one of us, every single day. So how come some people see it and some people don't? Because some people more naturally see it and train themselves. Train themselves to see it, notice it. Simcha said a gratitude list. I always talk to you about journals that we spoke about recently, and I think some people got really like, oh my gosh, Rachel, you got your notebook, and we're gonna actually really do this. When we appreciate, when we rejoice, when we look at the things in our life, and we're not cold. Meaning, let's say your kid came home from school and got an A on a hard exam. You say, oh, that's nice. Okay. So the message you're giving is don't get too excited. Don't be too happy. Don't be too into it. Don't be too joyous. You know, we're cool about it. You don't want to be cool about good things. You want to be really excited. You want to be really inspired. You want to be really animated. You want to really feel that. And the same thing with your life. With you looking at your own life and something good happened. Don't be like, okay, that good thing happened, but I've got 57 other problems. Or that detail is working out, but so many other details still have to work. Or, do you know what I'm talking about? Sort of that negative, more pessimistic, more cold approach. Turn it around. Good things are happening, and I want to celebrate the good. I want to focus on the good. I want to pump up my excitement about the good. Share with somebody else about this great thing that just happened in your life. The more you do it, the more you put yourself in a joyous space, a happy space, a looking at your life and feeling it's good space. Does this resonate with anyone? Have you seen in yourself where sometimes you get into these moods of like, yeah, okay, yeah, that good thing happened, but whatever? As versus maybe you see how you really milk it out. You like really hyper focus and are excited, and you share it with somebody else, and then you share it with somebody else, and you share it with somebody else, and even in yourself, you go back to it, and you're just really grateful and excited and positive about this good thing. And that makes you a person that feels a lot more joy in your life. Anyone see that in themselves in either or both directions?
I don't have an example, but yes, all the time. And I want to give a different example. Not totally that, but yesterday my throat's been killing me for 3 days, even though I had the l'chaim and I had this and that. So finally, yesterday I went to immediate care. I was like, okay, this is it. I think I have strep. Everyone in my class has strep. I'm going. And they tested me, and they tested me for other things, and I have COVID.
Oh, God.
Right. So yeah, I thought you'd like that one. So I only spread it amongst like 200 people, right? Because the L'chaim was Saturday night. And at first I was like, oh, how can I have COVID? Why did I even go get tested? This is ridiculous. I have so much to do, right? Like, and then I said, oh, Baruch Hashem, you're so smart.
You got days
You
off of
gave
work.
me I have 5 days off from work. I can't go to work. They won't let me back for 5 days. I can plan my entire wedding in 5 days now. And I was like, and I said, thank you, Hashem. And I've been so happy since. And I was like, I'm like jumping up and down because I have COVID.
Great example. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway.
Exactly. No, that is a good example. That's a perfect example. A perfect example of, yeah, the cup is half full. That's a perfect example. COVID is good. Yeah, it's great. I get to get off of work for 5 days and do everything else I need to on my list. That's perfect. But does anyone see this in themselves? This idea of like some things happen and you don't let yourself get so excited about it. I think it's almost like sometimes we protect ourselves. Like, how can I be so excited about this? I'm almost gonna like mess myself up and then something bad's gonna happen. Or I don't want to be so excited about this because I'm only focusing on this, but there's so many other like things that aren't good. I don't know. I just feel sometimes, I don't know if it's a defensive mechanism, if it's cultural, if it's how your parents were, but sometimes we like don't allow ourselves to just be excited, be happy, be joyous, really feel excited about this specific good thing that happened, and trust it'll filter into everything else in life.
It's exactly what happened. The situation happened to me actually today. We were working on something for my son, and it was like 5 things that we wanted to happen, and only one of them happened today. And my husband says, "That's wonderful. Aren't you happy about it?" I go, "Yeah, but what about other four?" And my husband says, "But it's a good start. One of them happened. And he says to me, "I'm trying to be positive." I go, you're right. But you know what? I didn't allow. And then I called my sister and I shared with her good news. I tried, but I don't think I was joyous enough because it was a good thing that happened. And I should have
Okay,
been
good
more
night.
joyous.
Thank you very much for everything.
I hear exactly what you're saying, Rivka. And Rivka's a wonderful person, as we all know. It's just that sometimes sometimes we.
It was a defense mechanism for me this time because I was just like, am I too is it too early for me to be really joyous because of those other factors? So that was a defense mechanism. But I see what you're saying now, that by being joyous, I will influence other factors to come through, and Hashem be creating miracles.
Exactly. Exactly. And yes, I think yes. It is like defense mechanism, protection, don't want to get hurt. And yeah, and you're absolutely right. When we're joyous, we open up the channels, and then the other things will also fall into place. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else? Now, sometimes for some people, it's not as picture perfect example that Rivka gave, which was like exactly what I was talking about. But sometimes we just don't notice, meaning we have so many things going on in our life. We have so much bombardment. I don't know, we're in like this fast-paced world racing toward redemption, and there's so much good, and then other stuff, and then this, and then this, and this, and then this, and this. So like it just gets lost in the shuffle. Like I remember thinking once, especially when a bad thing doesn't happen, like I could think of more than once, like especially with my youngest son Beryl, where he almost, God forbid, whatever, ran in the street and a car was coming, that horrific situation. And thank God each time the car stopped, I ran there, you're like, oh, so grateful, so appreciative. And half an hour later, you forgot about it. You're just moving on because life keeps moving, and we don't not, I'm saying we, not everyone obviously, but it's a very human tendency not to celebrate, nurture, keep reminding yourself. Obviously in a situation like I just expressed, you notice it. But obviously sometimes it's more subtle than that, and things keep moving and we don't notice, we don't remember, we're not nurturing it, that 3 hours later we're still appreciative that you came late to work, but your boss was even later. So it all worked out, or whatever, the elevator opened just as you got there and you got up to your floor, perfect timing. Or any of these things that happen all day long in our lives. But so many things are happening, so we're just, and we don't celebrate, nurture, feel taken care of, feel blessed, feel my life is good. So sometimes we're like a little scared to celebrate the good, or we feel burdened by all the not yet good stuff. And sometimes we don't notice. We don't notice, or we forgot because life kept moving and I didn't celebrate it. I didn't put it in my head as like, oh, that was so good. My life is good. This is so kind. This worked out so well. I was late and every light was green. You can see I keep giving these examples. Obviously, I have an issue with time. But all of these types of things, it happens and then you move on. No, or you walk around all day feeling good because of that small thing, but you noticed it and you appreciated it and you celebrated that happened a few hours ago. And it's good to remember every one of us is God's only child. So again, for sure, he is taking care of you. And for sure, every day, that's what we say in our prayer, every day there is good to celebrate in your life. Every single day. I'm sure if right now you took a little bit of time, let's actually take a little bit of time. Everyone just think of the blessings in their life. Just think. I'm not going to ask you for your list, but just think of blessings in your life. If the word blessings seems awkward, good things in your life, positive things in your life, things you're grateful for, things that are working. Just think. Raise your virtual hand if you came up with things that are blessings in your life. Blessings of health, blessings of family, blessings of relationship, blessings of friends, blessings of finances, of work, of housing, security, blessings of growth, blessings of achievement, blessings of overcoming obstacles, blessings of seeing improvement in situations, improvement in relationships with people, improvement in people's mental health and physical health and spiritual health, blessings of feeling taken care of by others and supported. There are a lot of blessings in every single one of our lives. There's a lot of blessings in every single one of our lives. And it's good to remember that. It's good to remember that. And I'm not saying the other stuff doesn't exist because we remember this, obviously. Obviously, lots of things exist in our world, and we all know that. But when we realize, like we say in the prayers, every single day God is taking care of me. Every single day. And I want to be that I spy. I spy, what did it say in the prayers? Goodness, miracles, wonders. So again, you have to be a little creative maybe. Simcha said, oh, she had this great news. She has COVID. What a kindness of God. People look a little differently, but I spy the goodness in my life. I spy the kindness. I spy the blessings. I spy the miracles and wonders because they're literally happening every single day. And the more we can, again, remember, emunah, emunim, belief, training, exercising. The more we train ourselves to look at our life and see those blessings, see those miracles and wonders and kindnesses and good, and celebrate them. Be excited, be warm, be passionate. Don't be scared to just enjoy them. Sometimes, like, almost like if a good thing happens, we're like, oh, maybe there's a good thing because then afterwards it's going to be a bad thing. It's a crazy mindset. But sometimes we think like that. Just let yourself loose, celebrate it. Don't be scared to celebrate it. Don't be scared to appreciate it. To really, really, really see. Now, obviously, for some people, it was very fast and boy, their hands went up like this. For some people, it takes a little bit longer. And maybe for the people whose hands went up really quickly, maybe that muscle is really well developed, or maybe they know where that raise your hand button is more easily on their screen. But maybe they have that emunah, emunim, belief, exercise, training, going through and working this muscle of belief, working this muscle of my life is good. There's a lot of blessings in my life. There's a lot of goodness in my life. There's a lot of positivity in my life. And again, will you fail sometimes? Most of us do. We're human. But maybe the general scorecard can just be a happier one. And we want to really work this muscle because the more we work it, the more natural it is. And again, it's just like Leah said before about smiling. The more you smile, the more you're happy. Or dancing. The more you're dancing, the more you're happy. Or a gratitude list, like Simcha said, or journaling, like I always say. Whatever your specific emunah is, whatever your specific how I work the muscle to look at my life and know it's good and celebrate the good and be joyous in the good and other things are going on also. But I want to nurture the good. I want to be that type of person, and then I'm going to have that type of life. Any other things that people have seen with themselves, how they remember to do all this, or other things that work for them to really celebrate life and feel good in their life? Okay, well, maybe we covered a lot of the list. What I would ask is, if you can decide to do one thing, take Leah's idea, smile. One thing. Consciously remember to smile. It's like people will say, what's going on? Why are you always smiling? Consciously remember to smile. Consciously remember to be grateful. Consciously remind yourself, like Simcha said, put a big sign on your fridge, Remind yourself to look for the kindness of the day. Look for the miracle of the day. Look for the blessing of the day. What a life when all day I'm looking for the blessing of the day, the miracle of the day, the kindness of the day. All day I'm looking with these positive eyes because I want to find it already. Yeah, I want to find it. I want to be the detective that succeeded. I saw it. I see the kindness of the day. Check. I saw the miracle of the day. I saw the wonder of the day. I know I'm God's child, and I know He's taking really good care of me. Emunah, emunim. We train ourselves and it becomes more and more fluid and natural, and we become overwhelmed with all the kindnesses of the day. Now, obviously, sometimes things are going on that are, hard to process that way. And you could say, yeah, I could see a lot of good in my life. And I've got blessings of family and blessings of friend and financial support. But sometimes one issue could be so overwhelming, even though I know it shouldn't, but it could like just create a gray, darkness that makes everything else not so meaningful. Yes, I have that all, and it's still not so meaningful because of even this one huge, overwhelming issue in my life. One issue. I've got so much good in my life, but that one issue makes everything dark. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens, and we have to really, really, really work when people are in that type of situation to really try and shrink the cloud. Again, for some people, life is regular with regular challenges and regular good stuff and regular hard stuff. And then what we're saying is so natural. And for some people, sometimes even one thing can create such darkness. It just feels like whatever. Everything you're saying is true, but whatever, because that darkness is so thick, is so hard, is so overwhelming, is so deeply painful that you can't rejoice in the good because that piece of pain is just too intense for any light to filter through it. And when we're in that situation, and sometimes people are, it's really good to have support. It's really good to have someone to talk to. It's really good to have someone to help you hang on to a little bit of perspective and a little bit of, this is very hard and it's very real and it's very challenging, and there still is a lot of good in your life. And I think one of the things that would work for me in those types of situations, one of the things I try to do is see the good in that situation. I mean, Simcha, of course, she had her example of COVID and 5 days off work. But a lot of times for me, it's like looking at the progress and celebrating whatever progress there is. We have this tendency to say, yeah, it's a little better, but, so many, it's so bad and it's a little better, whatever. And it's such a better way to live, if possible, to celebrate the progress, celebrate the growth, celebrate it's not where I want it to be. It's very far from where I want it to be, but I can see improvement in this issue. I can see how this issue is not as black as it was before. Maybe now it's a gray black. Maybe now it's a blue black. But it's not as black. I see it getting smaller. I see it getting better. I see things improving, even if improvement is small. And when you can hold on and within the issue itself, find something to celebrate, find something to say, I see improvement, or I see how this is helping. This issue is really hard, but actually, I see it's really pulling my family together. Doesn't take away the fact that the issue is hard, but I can celebrate the fact that my family is pulled together because of this hard issue. And that helps sometimes put it in perspective and helps it from obstructing everything in your life and not allowing you to appreciate the good while at the same time realistically contending with sometimes very, very, very difficult situations. But often seeing the growth and the improvement really helps put things in perspective and allow you to feel the joy. And something else that helps is remembering situations in the past that were really, really hard and they did get better. And that in general is also a tip for everyone. That's something that really helps us deal, even with not as horrific situations, but just hard stuff, is like, been there, done it, God came through, passed, I'm moving, this is going to be history someday, There's a reason, there's growth. I can look back at the past. Nobody's past is as impactful to you as your own. So if you look at your own life and see, yeah, I was in that really hard situation and it got better. My child improved. That health situation got better. Our finances got better. Now is a hard situation also, but I can look back in the past and see other hard situations. And somehow we came through. And that's what's going to happen now as well. So sometimes a very, just sort of simple, almost looking at your own life and reminding yourself, you've been through hard stuff and you've come through. God is with you and you've come through. Anyone else have anything they would like to add? Okay, so remember, this is your homework. One thing. We threw out a lot. One thing that you're going to try to work on joy? Yes. Work on joy for this week. One thing, and remember, it's the most auspicious time in the whole year to do it. Jews are always supposed to be happy. God always wants us to be happy. But this is now the most auspicious time, which means there's a lot of spiritual energy that's going to help make it happen. So I have to do this as well. We all have to do this. None of us are exempt from the work. No matter how happy you think you are, you're still not exempt. You can always go higher. And no matter how many problems you think you have, you're also not exempt. You still can do this work. Things can always get a bit better. And hopefully next week, people will have amazing things to share. Thank you so much.